Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Janelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. The Trump administration announcing another $16 billion to help bail out U.S. farmers.
The second round of assistance comes as U.S. farmers are among the hardest hit by the escalating trade war with China.
Here in Montana, farmers are struggling under the financial strain of lost export markets and 5 years of falling commodity prices.
Our Montana Ag Network's Russell Nimitz has reaction.
Well, after a lot of speculation, the Trump administration has unveiled a new $16 billion trade aid program for U.S. farmers hurt financially by the ongoing trade war with China. During remarks at the White House, the president said he's defending American farmers from unjustified trade retaliation.
So we will ensure that our farmers get the relief they need, and very, very quickly. It's a good time to be a farmer. We're going to make sure of that. So today I'm announcing that I have directed Secretary Perdue to provide $16 billion in assistance to America's farmers and ranchers. It all comes from China.
Highlights of the second trade mitigation package include $14.5 billion in direct payments to farmers based on the county-based payment rate for their planted acreage for 2019. This is to avoid planting distortions by requiring farmers to plant a crop this spring. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue praised the president for supporting U.S. farmers, but Montana Grain Growers Association President Lyle Benjamin, a Sunburst, told me farmers like him would rather have higher market prices instead of government payments.
It's nice that the president recognizes the significant damage that's happening as part of this, but at the end of the day, really what we want is our trade deals to open back up again and our market to flow unhindered. I think that most Montana farmers would say we can get far more out of the market than we can out of a government aid package.
Under the second trade mitigation package, the new payments will be capped at the total amount of eligible acreage a farmer planted last year. Eligible crops in our region include alfalfa hay, barley, canola, corn, pulses, soybeans, and wheat. And USDA says payments could start as early as July or August. In Billings, Russell Nimitz, MTN News.
All right, thanks, Russell. The announcement marks the second move in the past week by the White House to soften the blow on U.S. farmers from the trade conflict.
Just last week, the Trump administration struck a deal with Canada and Mexico to drop the steel and aluminum tariffs imposed a year ago. U.S. agriculture groups hope that move will encourage Congress to ratify the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement.
Well, tonight we're giving you an inside look at the newly renovated and more spacious Eastern Montana Crime Lab. As Q2's Andrea Lutz reports, this lab will serve 32 counties and was needed for quite some time.
It took 6 months to renovate what most people remember as the Wild West Bar. But now it's the Eastern Montana Crime Lab. And inside these walls, things are much different.
Everything about this building suits the needs that we have.
The lab is divided into two parts, the morgue and chemistry analysis. Each now has more space than before.
The space at the old facility was just inadequate.
It's a convenience factor because Billings, being one of the larger cities, we needed this facility.
The Montana Attorney General Tim Fox helped publicly usher in the new lab by thanking leaders in Yellowstone County. He says this facility will help Montana continue to have a cutting-edge forensic sciences division.
With 2 pathologists now in Billings, we have an adequate workforce for the amount of cases that we have.
With 1,500 chemistry cases anticipated for 2019, over 300 autopsies set to happen this year too. The need for a crime lab in Billings is huge. Drug-related and violent crimes continue to occupy law enforcement time.
There is a high drug problem here. I mean, it's sad in a way, but just having this facility here, it helps the turnaround time.
And because time is precious in an investigation, travel to Missoula is now cut down.
And there's even the opportunity to expand this building in the future. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
All right, thanks, Andrea. Going forward, there's an advisory committee that will continue to work with the Eastern Montana Crime Lab to ensure that it's heading in the right direction.
Well, state regulators are close to wrapping up a 2-week hearing on Northwestern Energy's electric rate case that's now before the Public Service Commission. Over the past 2 days, however, the focus wasn't on general rates, but rather on how Northwestern wants to treat rooftop solar customers. MTN's Mike Dennison reports.
Northwestern Energy's initial proposal called for a $35 million a year electric rate increase for its 360,000 Montana customers, a 7.4% increase for residential consumers. But at the beginning of last week's hearing, Northwestern and several parties in the case offered up a settlement that would increase rates just $6.5 million a year, or less than 1%. Yet what remains unsettled is Northwestern's new proposed rate structure for customers who install rooftop solar power systems. Right now, those customers use the excess power they generate to offset any consumption at the same price any other customer pays for power. Northwestern is proposing a new demand charge for new solar power customers based on peak level consumption, and that proposal was roundly denounced Thursday by solar power advocates.
I couldn't think of a better way to kill this industry. In fact, that's almost what it seems like it's designed to do. If you approve this, you will decimate numerous small industries.
Scores of people told the PSC Thursday that the rate would make solar power systems so costly that few would be installed in Montana. They also disputed Northwestern's claim that the systems impose noticeable costs on other customers and the company.
Currently, less than 1% of Northwestern's customers have solar. Yet the company would have you believe that these few customers are harming Northwestern Energy's financial health. That harm doesn't show up in the company's 2018 annual report.
David Bender, an attorney for Vote Solar, argued on Wednesday that the proposed rate penalizes solar metered customers for reducing their energy purchases.
Customers who reduce their electricity purchases from the utility should not, and in fact cannot, be treated differently, depending on whether those reductions come from self-generation or from any of the many other reasons people can control their consumption.
The big money questions on rates in this case are mostly settled. But as we heard Thursday, the future of local renewable power in Montana is still very much in play. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. Mike tells us the PSC will make its final decision in the coming weeks on the solar power rate and the rest of this case, which is Northwestern's first general electric rate case in 9 years.
An EF3 tornado hit Jefferson City, Missouri late last night as many people were sleeping with an estimated peak wind of around 160 miles per hour. More than 20 people were reported injured as of this afternoon. Officials say the city's damage spans about 3 miles. A total of 171 tornadoes have been reported across the country since Friday.
Wow. Turning to weather here at home, Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire is here to actually bring us some good news about the Beartooth Pass tonight.
It is hard to believe. How many times have you shoveled your driveway and you've had snow piles on either side of it? Well, let me show you some big snow piles. Look at that, boys and girls. Yeah, this comes to us from the Park County, Wyoming Sheriff's Office. And as you can see, look at the snow there. That's the Beartooth Pass up there, and they're getting it plowed there in Wyoming. Now, the good news here is they are getting ready to open the Beartooth Pass to Vista Point. I can do that tomorrow. Then on Saturday, they're going to throw that gate wide open, and we're looking at the Beartooth Pass being open for business by the time Saturday gets here, and boy, that ought to be kind of nice. Weather's going to be a little iffy. We're looking at some scattered rain showers moving in, maybe a little light snow up in the higher elevations, but we'll probably just kind of plow that as each day as it goes on. Anyway, we'll have your weekend forecast in a few more minutes.
Thanks so much, Bob. And if you're on your way to the Beartooth Pass, motorists traveling between Laurel and Rockvale will soon have the pleasure of feeling fresh pavement touching their tires. In the coming weeks, a new 10-mile stretch of U.S. Highway 212-310 will finally be complete. Q2's Mitch Laggy brings us a first look at the new route.
Anybody who travels this road will know that they've had a lot of near misses out here. The old highway was one of those areas that definitely had a red flag on it. And we're hoping that with this new construction that we'll see a lot less accidents and a lot more convenience.
What exactly makes this road safer? At 4 points, the road widens to 2 lanes going each direction, providing faster traffic more chances to pass. This also leaves more room for emergency responders. The state purchased the right-of-way from landowners to allow the road to deviate west into the hills. Crews have tried to keep access the same as before construction. Crews did this by paving parts of county roads in the area and in some places building tunnels that let farmers and livestock go under the roadway. The new section will connect to the old one so that in effect, You could drive in a circle from Laurel to Rockvale, taking the new road on the way there and the old one on the way back. Currently, there's a small dirt detour on the old highway north of Rockvale. This has been a headache for drivers, sometimes causing traffic backup. Crews are asking the public to be patient. About 30% of paving remains to be done on the new road. Project manager Bill Felton said that could take up to 3 weeks. This is all weather dependent because paving cannot be done during or right after a rainstorm.
Just bear with us on it. We're doing the best we can to keep it in good condition for the traveling public, and weather permitting, we should only be there a few more weeks, and we'll be onto a paved detour at the least, and after that onto the new highway.
Drive safe, Montana. In Laurel, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
Thanks, Mitch. Now, once complete, the state will hold a grand opening celebration for the new highway.
World War II soldier finally makes it back to Montana.
Tonight, MTN's Cody Boyer has the story of Private William Bogley and his long journey home.
Private William Bogley was killed in action 1944 while protecting those who were running out to save the wounded. All these decades later, his family got to see him come home.
He was from Sedan, Montana, farm boy, Montana boy that became a hero.
Private William Bogley's story started and ended near the Philippines, a soldier in the U.S. Army. His nephew, Don McHenry, says it was September 30th, 1944.
They wanted to capture this island to make a jumping off point to invade the Philippines.
Except trouble.
Well, after 380 some people were killed, they decided it wasn't worth it.
All the while, men carrying stretchers to help the wounded ran into the fray. Private Bogley, Don's Uncle Bill, volunteered to guard them, an act that Don retold to a room full of military, friends, and family.
Montana has that mindset. They're willing to do whatever it takes.
But then, for all intents and purposes, he disappeared.
He was killed on September 30th, 1944, and they buried him at that time there. Then they dug him up in 1947 and tried to identify remains. I think his number was XP 3008.
In 1995, after being transported and buried at Fort McKinley, then placed in a mausoleum, the soldier's remains made it to Hawaii. After DNA testing, William's name became clear.
April of last year, I get a call from a lady that was a contractor for the U.S. Army. We're telling me they're trying to identify remains of missing MIAs. She said, would you be willing to talk to one of the Army guys, regular Army guys? And we said, yeah, I certainly would.
And almost exactly 74 years after his death, Don got another call. Uncle Bill was coming home. And today, by plane, Private Bogley made the trip that he should have made 7 decades ago.
Pretty special, and it's too bad that my mother and her brothers didn't get to know that. They didn't know what happened to him. He could have been buried in Arlington with the caissons and the whole 9 yards, but we chose to have him buried here.
Why?
This is where he was born and raised.
Farm boy, uncle, soldier, hero. A fitting set of titles for a man whose return was long overdue.
Just never leave up hope and honor the veterans, because they gave up a lot for us.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
And Don says Private Bogley was awarded the Purple Heart and the Silver Star for his gallantry while serving.
And his funeral is set for this Saturday in the Gallatin Valley.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, in a medical emergency, these men and women are usually some of the first people you see. Today, EMS workers celebrated at our state capitol.
And in sports, some opening round stunners on the state softball diamond. Scott shows us which teams are already reeling.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.